Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Will Hunter King return as the summer recast for Revenge on Kane? The Young and the Restless spoilers leave us wondering whether a summer Newman recast will return to exact revenge on Kane Ashby. Could this be the perfect setting for a new enemies to lovers storyline? Now that Lanier has left the role of Summer, people are wondering what the future holds for her. The program has not yet revealed intentions to recast, but it is realistic to expect Summer to return in some form in the future. If that happens, Hunter King may be willing to resume her previous role. If not, Y&R might cast someone else and give Summer a fresh look. Summer will have to return to Genoa City sooner or later, and she may want Kane to pay. Summer and Chance Chancellor's romance did not work out, but she still cares about him. Hearing the news about Chance's death may rekindle previous memories and leave Summer wondering what could have happened. Chance and Summer might have found a path back to each other if she could overcome her lingering feelings for Kyle Abbott. Regardless, Summer might blame Kane for inviting Chance to the party and allowing his aide Carter to go crazy. If Kane had simply left Chance alone, he would not have met such a tragic end. Of course, Summer will be outraged that Kane is holding Nick Newman captive and allowing him to be gravely harmed. Nick could have died, so Summer has good right to be outraged. On top of that, Kane is targeting Chancellor and even Newman Enterprises. We're witnessing Kane make big power moves that influence Victor Newman, Nikki Newman, and the entire Newman family. It's simple to understand why Summer would want revenge on Kane. So what if her comeback narrative involves targeting him? Summer might try to seduce Kane as part of a larger plan to gain an advantage. It would be entertaining to watch Summer exploit Kane as part of a vindictive strategy, and possibly fall in love with him in the process. After all, Lily Winters is far from ready to reunite with Kane, so the show may explore other love possibilities in the interim. In either situation, Summer may return home believing Kane is the enemy, and eventually fall in love with him. Jack, Billy, and Kane band together to undermine Victor. On Young and the Restless, Jack Abbott considers a stunning plan that entails collaborating with his younger brother Billy Abbott and surprise Kane Ashby. All three are aiming at Victor Newman. We'll talk about why Jack is preparing this shift, and why he might support Billy's desire to cooperate with Kane to depose Victor. The reason Jack is thinking about it makes perfect sense, but it's a hazardous game. Young and the Restless. Everyone is finally back home in Genoa City. As of Thursday, everyone has returned to Genoa City, and they are preparing for war as a result of Kane and the events in Nice, France. Victor and Nikki Newman will hold a family gathering to discuss the threat posed by Kane, who is indeed preparing huge things. Victor informed Kane before they left France that he was aware of all the real estate purchases in GC, including the GCSE. Victor publicly proclaimed war on Kane. The difficulty is that Victor is already fighting two wars. One with Billy and the other with Kyle Abbott, which Jack takes very personally. And now is when things become really fascinating. Young and Restless, Newmans versus Kane. Victor tells the family of Kane's big threat, and suggests that the Newmans band together to plot how to fight him. Victoria and Adam Newman are already preparing to find out Kane's next move in the real estate market, so they can shut him down and beat him to the punch. Nikki and Victor are already aware that Kane is targeting Chancellor. What they don't realize is that Kane wants much more than that. All of the Newman Enterprises, including Victor's main company, Newman Enterprises, as well as Newman Media. Kane plans to take over Jabot as well. He told Phyllis Summers that Kane would soon get a good deal from Jack that would make him forget about taking over Jabot, and instead focus on Newman-owned firms. So why would Jack link up with Kane? Jack had just raged about Kane's actions in France, which cost lives. Young and the Restless. Jack chooses the lesser of two evils. But it's one of those situations when the enemy of my enemy is my buddy. Victor is Kane's and Jack's antagonist. That is why Jack wants to be Kane's friend. Not because he wants to fight Victor, but because the mustache refuses to quit. He's had enough, and he's going to take action to put an end to it. When they return to GC, Jack and Diane Jenkins are concerned that Victor may pursue Kyle via Audra Charles, knowing that the situation is far from over. Kyle told his folks what had transpired in France. But the truth is that Kyle abandoned Claire Grace Newman at a vital moment to go play these reindeer games with Audra, attempting to expose her and Victor. Young and Restless. Victor won't back off Kyle. He didn't know Claire's father was going to die, but he knew Cole Howard was seriously ill and there was no need for him to go. He had no intention of going, but Audra persuaded him to go. Bottom line, Kyle was not present for Claire when she needed him the most. Victor will undoubtedly emphasize this. Kyle hopes that by not falling in bed with Audra and not allowing her to seduce him, he has shown himself to Victor, and that the mustache will back off. But that is not how things will happen. Not at all.
Instead, Victor is more enraged than ever about Claire and Kyle. Where he had previously doubled down, he may treble down. At least this time, Jack is entering into the fray and will participate. Newman family drama, Victor's war on Kane and the real estate power struggle in Genoa City. Claire was not present when the other members of the Newman family arrived. Instead, she headed over to see Kyle. Victoria warned Claire that Victor would dislike it, but Claire didn't care. She wanted to see her lover. Victor was enraged, despite the fact that Nick Newman, Victoria, and Nikki felt Claire's actions were perfectly acceptable. Diane and Jack believe it is a poor time to go on their honeymoon because Victor and Audra are still attempting to sabotage Kyle and Claire and harm their son. When Kyle and Claire met Audra at the park with Nate Hastings, things got awkward. Audra's boyfriend noticed, but Claire appeared to be more distracted. Young and restless, Jack's shocking idea. With that in mind, Diane is concerned that Victor will continue to destroy Kyle and Claire's relationship and harm their son. Diane is stunned when Jack claims he would partner up with Kane to stop Victor. Diane is astonished to hear him say that. Jack believes it may be worth the risk. In reality, Billy is already working with Kane. So the Abbotts have a foot in the door with Kane. I don't see Billy and Kane turning down Jack since a group plan to target Victor sounds fantastic. The more the merrier, right? This would triple their chances of defeating Victor because Kane, Jack, and Billy working together as the united front adds a lot of power to the table. Jack isn't concerned about Chancellor or Kane's other intentions. Jack only wants to crush Victor so that he will stop targeting Kyle on the Young and the Restless. Young and the Restless, Jack and Billy are at odds. Jack's obsession with Kane jeopardized his relationship with Billy. So, if Jack decides to go all in with Kane and Billy, it will most likely repair some of the damage to Jack and Billy's brother bond, which is a positive thing. What's interesting is that Jack has the same aim as Nikki, Victoria, and Claire. They all want Victor to quit harassing Kyle and Claire and let them be. But Victor will not listen to anyone in his family, least of all Claire. Young and the Restless, Kyle's tough decision. Based on what happened in France, Jack understands how far Victor will go to separate Kyle and Claire, and he knows they will not stop. Kyle hasn't told Claire about Victor and Audra's scheme because she is grieving for her father, Cole. Kyle threatened to tell Nate, but he is grieving for his brother Damien Kane. Kyle does not want to hurt Claire and Nate as they prepare to bury their loved ones since it will be difficult to hear that those close to them misled them. Claire was already hoping her grandfather Victor would stop plotting while in France. He hasn't. Kyle was kind of like, but he didn't want to tell her. Of course, Victor will work even harder now that they are back in town. Young and restless, Claire's inevitable heartbreak. Diane is concerned about Claire's reaction once she learns how far Audra and Kyle went when he tried to expose her. Diane told Jack she believes Claire will respond the same way Victor did when Jack assisted Nikki in going to rehab, blindly outraged. I don't think Kyle realizes it, but he betrayed Claire by kissing Audra for whatever reason. It doesn't matter why. Kyle went too far and started rolling around on the bed with her, making out passionately. Audra might spin things to make Kyle appear particularly horrible to Claire, especially if Audra believes she will lose Nate anyhow. Expect Jack to approach Kane soon. He may go via Billy to accomplish it, unless Diane can talk him out of it, which I doubt. Young and the Restless, Kane receives a pleasant surprise. Jack dislikes Kane, but let's be honest, he's the lesser of two evils when compared to Victor, and Jack believes this plot is for the greater good. Furthermore, Billy would be happy to have Jack on board, and he may encourage Kane to accept the offer and form a power trio bent to killing Victor and stealing everything from him. Going up against Victor won't be simple, but Jack has been at odds with him for decades. So what's one more fight? Especially if it will benefit his son, Kyle. I'm quite happy to see Kane discover he has a powerful new friend to help him and Billy defeat Victor once and for all. August surprises to heat up Genoa City. The Young and the Restless spoilers tease some August surprises that will undoubtedly heat things up in Genoa City. Has the mayhem at the chateau followed some of the guests home? Expect strife and drama to grow now that everyone has come home. Kane Ashby's perfect plan goes wrong. Kane Ashby that he had it all figured out while ignoring his dirty chores as the others were isolated from society. Unfortunately, after 3 deaths and several disappointed hopes, Kane has made a mistake. Victor Newman advised Kane to stay away, but he did not. Victor and the rest of the Newmans are out to get Kane, and he needs to watch his back. Adam Newman figured out who Kane was without assistance from Victor or the rest of the family. Now that the Newmans have reunited, they are ready to take on Kane. Will the Newmans prevail in the end? It appears that Kane's ambitions will face a significant obstacle. Lily Winter's romantic woes. Lily Winters had recently begun a romantic relationship with Damien Canty, only for him to be assassinated by Kane's right-hand man. Kane will undoubtedly go to great lengths to persuade Lily to take him back now that Damien is no longer involved. Kane may need to wait a long time for this. Lily's thoughts might be telling her that she doesn't have a future with Kane. However, it appears that Lily's heart may not agree with her at all. Lily had already been dreaming about Kane and Nice. Now that Damien is gone, she may fantasize about him even more. Will this be good or harmful for Lily? Claire Newman's world is about to implode. Claire Newman's world has already been turned upside down, and it's about to become worse. Claire had gone to see Kyle Abbott before her family, which did not settle the will with Victor. Despite their best efforts, Victor refuses to back down and leave her alone. Claire had asked Kyle what happened, and now she is about to learn the truth from someone else. Claire questioned Kyle about his deal with Victor, which he refused to disclose. That is about to come from Victor instead. Will Victor divulge the truth simply to end Claire's relationship? Claire is going to be upset when she learns what Kyle has done. Kyle's near encounter with Audra will not be remembered favorably. Audra Charles's lie blows up as well. Audra Charles is likewise on the verge of losing everything. Audra vowed to do whatever it necessary to convince Kyle to shatter Claire's heart. However, Audra did not exactly fulfill her end of the bargain. Now is the time for Victor to reclaim his funds for Vibrante and derail Claire's intentions. Audra will also find herself alone after Nate Hastings ends their relationship. Nate didn't do this only to catch Audra wanting to get back into Kyle's bed. He also cautioned her about working with Victor. Is Audra about to be alone now that the truth is coming out? Victoria and Nate bond, Schick's sticky reunion, Kyle's guilt, and Kane's new plan. According to the Young and the Restless spoilers, the following 3 weeks in Genoa City will be filled with unexpected moments, bombshells, and some awkwardness as everyone deals with the fallout from the events in Nice. Read on to find out what happens between July 28th and August 15th. Week of July 28th to August 1st, the aftermath of Nice. Speaking of discomfort, the Young and the Restless spoilers for this week suggest Nick Newman and Sharon Newman will experience some of it when they return home to GC. After all, the steamy kiss they shared while he was recovering from his wounded during their hostage crisis will result in a tricky predicament. Unfortunately, while Schick followers were delighted to see it, Nick will suspect he made a mistake in the moment. It appears that a Schick reunion will not go as smoothly as some YNR viewers may expect. Meanwhile, Nate Hastings will learn about Damien Kane's death and will update Amy Lewis as the days pass. Given the sad news, it appears that both parties will rely on one another. Meanwhile, Victor Newman will be out for retribution, and his target will be none other than Kane Ashby. Week of July 28th to August 1st, Daniel and Tessa bond. In other news, Victor and Nikki Newman will be shocked to learn of Cole Howard's death. They may also feel bad about not being there to help Claire and Victoria Newman grieve. However, given the circumstances, the women will understand. Speaking of guilt, Kyle Abbott will feel terrible for not being there for his girlfriend, so he'll struggle with this when he returns. over to Daniel Romalotti Jr., who will be busy. Not only will he turn down Phyllis Summers' latest ploy, but he and Tessa Porter will also become closer. In fact, the mother will require help with Aria Porter Copeland while in the park, and Daniel will be available to help. Week August 4th to 8th, Kyle's Secret. The Young and the Restless spoilers for the week of August 4th to 8th state that someone will keep Claire in the dark about something, thus Kyle may conceal the news that Victor's bargain with Audra Charles was for the brunette to seduce him. Kyle desperately wants to out the mustache, but this is not the time or place, given that she has recently lost Cole and must rely on Kyle and Victor. With that said, will he notice the blossoming bond between Claire and Holden Novak? The two connected while Kyle was away, so Holden may take advantage of the occasion to remind Kyle of this and get some jabs in. Week August 11th to 15th, Kane's Plan. The sole silver lining in the heated confrontation that claimed Chancellor's life was that it proved Carter was responsible for Damien's death, not Kane. Lily Winters recognized this after everything went down, so could Kane devise a fresh strategy to win his ex-wife's heart? Speaking of, with Billy Abbott teaming forces with Phyllis in an attempt to work with Kane, can they devise a more specific strategy to win him over? Their new collaboration may irritate Sally Spectra, therefore Philly's new relationship may drive a wedge between them. Meanwhile, two more ex-partners will connect in sadness, as Nate and Vicky appear to remain in each other's orbit and rely on one another. How does Audra feel about this? In the ever-twisting and emotionally charged world of the Young and the Restless, a storm is brewing in Genoa City, one that could bring back a familiar face to the screen and throw the entire Newman Abbott Chancellor axis into utter chaos. With Summer Newman's departure still fresh, fans have begun to buzz with speculation about a possible return, and more intriguingly, a recast that would reignite her fierce Newman fire. The tragic death of Chancellor and the downward spiral of Kane Ashby have opened a dramatic gateway for Summer's revenge arc, one that could easily launch a new era for the show, blending classic soap tropes with explosive modern storytelling. If Hunter King returns to reprise her role as Summer, it would mark a full-circle moment for a character who has evolved from rebellious heiress to complex, driven woman with emotional depth and a dangerous edge. However, even if YNR chooses to recast Summer with a new actress, the storyline potential remains irresistibly high. With Chance's untimely death haunting Genoa City and the shocking revelation of Kane's part in inviting Chance to the estate where it all fell apart, culminating in the chaos instigated by Carter's violent outburst, it's only logical that Summer would want someone to blame. And who better than Kane Ashby, the man whose hunger for power and reckless ambition have cost lives and left destruction in his wake? Summer's romantic history with Chance was complicated, layered with what-ifs and missed opportunities. Though they couldn't quite rekindle their bond after her unresolved feelings for Kyle Abbott took over, Chance always held a piece of her heart. Now, hearing about his death, that fragile flame could be reignited, not in love, but in rage, sorrow, and vengeance. The grief may force Summer to finally confront her guilt, heartbreak, and buried love for Chance. She might convince herself that if Kane hadn't meddled, if he hadn't created the space for chaos by inviting Chance and surrounding himself with volatile allies, maybe Chance would still be alive. And the bitterness she carries might only be fueled by the horrifying reality that Nick Newman, her own father, is being held captive by the very same man, Kane, whose actions have proven time and again that no one, not even the powerful Newmans, is safe from his ambition. To Summer, this will feel like a declaration of war on her family, her legacy, and her heart. But Summer isn't just a grieving daughter or a broken ex, she's a Newman woman, and Newman women don't just fall apart. They scheme, strike, and seize the moment. This is where the potential for a mind-bending enemies to lovers arc ignites.